Okay, so now I'm gonna start working on, I put the camera up close so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So a few minutes ago we watched how I did the ground and kind of got the basic values in. So that'll be important to kind of get the basic values in before you start to do the texture. And then you can start to do the texture. So for this I'm going to use this Vine charcoal piece. And I'm going to use these kind of sharp edges of it. And I'm going to start just kind of starting at the back. I'm just going to kind of do some layers of grass. And you're going to kind of want to do these a little bit in kind of in rows. So it'll kind of give your picture depth. So I'm making them really short. Little ones. And every now and then I kind of go in some different directions. And if the edges of your theme get kind of rounded, you can switch to the other side, or you can use an X-Acto knife or a utility knife for your scissors and cut the ends off so they're really square again. And I'm going to kind of go back over the grass a little bit, maybe in some different directions on top of the other grass. So this is obviously, going to kind of take a while. So I've kind of put some grass in there so you can see. Now I'm going to kind of take, this is my mechanical eraser, and I'm going to cut the end of it too so it's real even. And then I'm just going to kind of also erase out some grass. So then we kind of have a mixture of some charcoal lines and some erased lines. And so that's just going to kind of give an idea of texture. And then I know that there's those little horses up there, so I'm gonna kind of erase out, I'm gonna erase out my little horse. So as I go, now I can kind of put some of the little animals in the grass or out in the field. When I do this with the eraser, the mechanical eraser, I kind of like to go up next to some of the black ones sometimes, just so it's kind of a highlight on the other side of a black line I made. But you'll find that stuff starts to get dull pretty quick, and you'll have to cut off kind of the end of your eraser, because then it'll start to blend and it won't look as good. But the idea, you know, of this assignment is, of course, to focus on texture. So that's going to be important. Some of the pictures have tons of rocks on them. Lots of them have tons of grass. So it's just going to kind of, this part is just going to take a little while. So now I'm going to kind of work on the trees a little bit. So I'm just kind of going through some of these, doing the same thing. I'm kind of erasing out some areas, kind of putting in some trunks. Don't want to put in too many. But I'm just kind of looking at the parts I left a little wider. Maybe kind of put in some highlights for these trees. That's what's kind of nice about doing this kind of more free with charcoal and a little more abstract, is you kind of get to kind of make up your own plan instead of having to follow exact picture. Now I obviously use the picture as a guide, but I didn't use it and follow it exactly. So that's what I'm going through, and I'm erasing these because it's a little bit different. When I kind of erase out some areas, it's going to kind of give the texture of leaves. And you just kind of make this up a little bit as you go. I'm just kind of putting some little stuff down here, like maybe some grass, because this area underneath the tree line is also grass. But it's not going to have to be as detailed as the front, because it's back a little further. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm just going to kind of use the values that I have in there for that. So notice I'm having to cut off my thing quite a bit so I have a clean edge And then just kind of go down into the dark spot a little bit. I'm going to kind of erase above the trees a little bit, but I'm going to use it more as a shading tool. I'm not pushing real hard. Kind of make the trees stand out a little more. Maybe sometimes I want to look like there's more of a gap or kind of light shining on the side of the tree. So I'm not going to do this whole thing on video, but I just kind of wanted you to kind of get the idea of it. So see how I've kind of gone in layers, little short strokes. I'm not trying to do it all in one, just because that's, you know, how the grass would be. And down here you can see I earlier was using that just as part of the paper to take some of the charcoal off of my, what are the blender. Which is fine because I'll kind of make it blend in with my grass. Kind of do this little corner, and then I think everybody will kind of get the idea. And I'll go back through later, not on camera, and kind of finish it. And now that I saw that, I kind of liked some of the, and it's up to you. You can use whatever you want, and that's the good thing. This is just kind of what I've chose to do. So you can kind of experiment with this stuff however you want, with whatever ways you use your charcoal. Or see, my charcoal now is starting to get not a sharp edge anymore, so I'm gonna cut it off with my scissors. So once your charcoal starts to not make really hard lines, you need to use your utility knife or your scissors or something. Make it sharp again. So there's my kind of my grass, kind of the trees. So hopefully you kind of get the idea. So I'm going to go back through and finish the rest of this. And then I will go back to the top part of the painting or the drawing, and then it should be about done.
I